With a hey and a ho and a hey nonny-o, with a hey ho, hey nonny-o. With a hey and a ho and a hey nonny-o, with a hey ho, hey nonny-o. With a hey and a ho and a hey nonny-o, with a hey ho, hey nonny-o.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us for the virtual production of Don't Fear Shakespeare in the Park, co-produced by Coaster Theatre Playhouse and KMUN. We would like to thank the Clatsop County Cultural Coalition for the grant to assist in the filming of this piece. The Coaster Theatre would also like to acknowledge our season sponsors, the Clark Foundation, Mike and Tracy Clark, Coaster Construction, Becker Capital Management, Escape Lodgings, Candy and John Holsgraf, Martin North, Lee Larson, Builders First Source Milgard, and Dennis 7Ds. Today's show, which runs a little less than an hour, celebrates the words of William Shakespeare. We hope to both educate and entertain. During Shakespeare's times, a common cheer was huzzah! So please join me. Huzzah! 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 You're welcome to use huzzah when you applaud our fine acting troupe. On occasion, Queen Elizabeth would be in attendance at a Shakespeare play. We have the great fortune to have her in attendance today. Please hail the Queen with a huzzah. Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah!
Huzzah!
If you would like to donate to the Coaster Theatre or KMUN, please visit our websites at coastertheatre.com or kmun.org. And now, Don't Fear Shakespeare in the Park.
Shakespeare wrote 38 plays, and we're going to name them for you now, alphabetically. See how many you recognize and how many you've never heard of. All's Well That Ends Well, Antony and Cleopatra, As You Like It, Comedy of Errors,
Coriolanus,
Cymbeline,
Hamlet,
Henry IV, Parts 1 and 2,
Henry V,
Henry VI, Part 1,
Henry VI, Part 2,
Henry VI, Part 3,
Henry VIII, Julius Caesar, King John, King Lear, Love's Labour's Lost, Macbeth, Measure for Measure, Merchant of Venice,
Merry Wives of Windsor,
Midsummer Night's Dream,
Much Ado About Nothing,
Othello,
Pericles,
Richard II,
Richard III,
Romeo and Juliet,
Taming of the Shrew,
Tempest,
Timon of Athens,
Titus Andronicus,
Troilus and Cressida,
Twelfth Night,
Two Gentlemen of Verona,
The Two Noble Kinsmen,
and Winter's Tale.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Huzzah!
The character of the chorus speaks the first words of the play of Henry V. He says that if the play could be acted out across the space of kingdoms and over a span of years, it would be just as good as the real thing. Instead, you're stuck with us poor players who can't recreate an artillery bombardment or a cavalry charge. It's up to you to use your imagination. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels leashed in like hounds should famine, sword and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that have dared upon this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty field of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casques that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them, printing their proud hooves to the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply admit me chorus to this history, who prologue-like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
The following poem is spoken by Jakes in Act 2, Scene 7 of the play As You Like It. The poem compares the world to one giant stage and all human beings on it as actors. It conveys the message that ultimately we end up just as we started, helpless and unaware. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages.
At first the infant, mewling and puking in his nurse's arms.
Then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school.
And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow.
Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth.
And then the justice, in fair round belly with good capon lined, his eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part.
The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish trouble, pipes and whistles in his sound.
Last scene of all that ends the strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Sonnet 18 celebrates the power of poetry to immortalize those we love and our relationship with them. The narrator asks if he should compare his beloved to a beautiful summer day, and then answers that actually the person is lovelier than the day, for summer is both fleeting and fickle. The weather could be scorching or unseasonably cold, could wither flower buds before they open. Likewise, the summer of our youth soon fades, but the sonnet allows both love and beloved to remain forever young. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in thy shade, when in the eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
In Sonnet 57, the author states that people in love often feel unimportant and are slaves to their lovers, devoting all their time to pleasing their partners. Shakespeare says love makes people fools who think their partners can do no wrong. Being your slave, what should I do but tend upon the hours and times of your desire? I have no precious time at all to spend, nor services to do, till you require. Nor dare I chide the world without end hour, whilst I, my sovereign, watch the clock for you. Nor think the bitterness of absence sour when you have bid your servant once adieu. Nor dare I question with my jealous thought where you may be or your affairs suppose, but like a sad slave stay and think of naught, save where you are, how happy you make those. So true a fool is love that in your will, though you do anything, he thinks no ill.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
In Taming of the Shrew, Kate, the elder sister, stands in the way of her sweet younger sister getting married. Kate is intelligent, but, well, nasty. Petruchio is a talented opportunist seeking to marry into a wealthy family. Petruchio's plan is to woo Catherine by complimenting her as polite and kind. She tells him to get lost. But this evolves into a long wordplay with puns that twist the other's words and challenge, almost like verbal dueling. She is challenging him. Perhaps if a man is not intelligent and able to outwit her, then he's not worthy of her hand in marriage. In the end, Petruchio announces this is a done deal. Agreed and dowried, he will marry her and then tame her. Shakespeare has given Kate no choice. Good morrow, Kate, for that's your name, I hear.
Well have you heard, but something hard of hearing. They call me Catherine, who do talk of me.
You lie in faith, for you are called plain Kate, and bonny Kate, and sometimes Kate the cursed, but Kate, the prettiest Kate in Christendom. Hearing thy mildness praised in every town, thy virtues spoke of, and thy beauty sounded, yet not so deeply as to thee belongs, myself am moved to woo thee for my wife.
Moved? In good time. Let him that moved you hither remove you hence. I knew it from the first, you were immovable.
Why, what's a movable?
A joint stool.
Ah, thou hast hit it. Come, sit on me.
Asses are made to bear, and so are you.
Women are made to bear, and so are you.
No such jade as you, if me you mean.
Come, come, you wasp, in faith, you are too angry.
If I be waspish, best beware my sting.
My remedy then is to pluck it out.
Aye, if the fool could find where it lies.
Who knows not where a wasp does wear its sting? In his tail.
In its tongue.
Whose tongue?
Yours if you talk of tales, and so farewell.
What, with my tongue in your tail? Nay, come again, good Kate, I am a gentleman.
Oh, that I'll try.
Now, Kate, come, you must not look so sour.
I care not. Let me go.
No, not a whit. I find you passing gentle. 'Twas told me you were rough and coy and sullen, and now I find the report a very liar. For thou art pleasant, gamesome, passing courteous. But thou with mildness entertainst thy wooers, and with conference soft and affable.
Where did you study all this goodly speech?
It is extempore from my mother's wit.
A witty mother, witless else her son.
And therefore, setting all this chat aside, thus in plain terms, your father hath consented that you shall be my wife, your dowry agreed on, and will you, nill you, I will marry you. Thou must be married to no man but me, for I am he, am born to tame you, Kate, and bring you from a wild Kate to a Kate conformable like other household Kates.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Sonnet 65 is about the ravages of time on both love and life, and how the poet attempts to overcome mortality with his immortal writings. Summer, symbolic of itself, is here personified, and its battle against time is couched in an extended metaphor sustained with words and phrases such as wreckful siege, battering days, impregnable, and gates of steel. But the final couplet provides us with some hope that there is something about mankind that will ultimately resist and defeat time. In the poet's case, it is through his verse that he will emerge victorious.
Since brass, nor stone, nor earth, nor boundless sea, but sad mortality o'ersways their power, how with this rage shall beauty hold a plea, whose action is no stronger than a flower? Oh, how shall summer's honey breath hold out against the wrackful siege of battering days, when rocks impregnable are not so stout, nor gates of steel so strong, but time decays? Oh, fearful meditation, where, alack, shall time's best jewel from time's chest lie hid? Or what strong hand can hold his swift foot back? Or who his spoil or beauty can forbid? Oh, none, unless this miracle have might, that in black ink my love may still shine bright. In Sonnet 80, the poet acknowledges that the rival poet displaces him in the youth's favor. Feeling discouraged by the superiority of the better spirit of the rival poet, whom he describes throughout the sonnet using nautical imagery, the poet complains of being tongue-tied, unable to compete with his rival's exalted verse.
Oh, how I faint when I of you do write, knowing a better spirit doth use your name, and in the praise thereof spends all his might to make me tongue-tied, speaking of your fame. But since your worth wide as the ocean is, the humble as the proudest sail doth bear, my saucy bark inferior far to his, on your broad main doth wilfully appear. Your shallowest help will hold me up afloat, whilst he upon your soundless deep doth ride, or being racked, I am a worthless boat. He of tall building and of goodly pride. Then if he thrive and I be cast away, the worst was this, My love was my decay.
In this monologue, from Much Ado About Nothing, the headstrong Benedick expresses disgusted bewilderment that love has made his soldier friend start to behave so foolishly. He also questions what sort of woman, if any, could turn him into such a sap. I do much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is made a fool when he dedicates his behaviors to love, will, after he hath laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. And such a man is Claudio. I have known when there was no music in him but the drum and the fife. Now would he rather hear the tabor or the pipe? I have known when he would have walked 10 miles afoot to see a good armor. Now will he lie 10 nights awake, carving the fashion of a new doublet. He was wont to speak plain and to the purpose, like an honest man and a soldier. Now has he turned orthography. His words are a very fantastical banquet, just so many strange dishes. May I be so converted and see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. I won't be sworn on it, but love may transform me to an oyster. But I will take my oath on it, till he have made an oyster of me, he shall never make me such a fool. One woman is fair, yet I am well. Another wise, yet I am well. Another virtuous, yet I am well. But till all virtues be in one woman shall not come into my grace. Rich she shall be, that's certain. Wise, or I'll none. Virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, or I'll never look on her. Mild, or come not near me. Of good discourse, an excellent musician, and her hair shall be of whatever color it pleases God. Ah, the prince and Monsieur Love. I shall hide me in the arbor.
Huzzah! In Shakespeare's 23rd sonnet, the poet compares himself to a poor actor who has stage fright and forgets his lines, or a rampaging animal that's exhausted by its frenzy. The poet is overwhelmed by the strength of his love. He doesn't trust himself to speak. Instead, he begs his love to hear his love in the words of the poem he's written. As an imperfect actor on the stage who with his fear is put beside his part, or some fierce thing replete with too much rage whose strength's abundance weakens his own heart, so I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's rite, and in mine own love's strength seem to decay, or charged with burden of mine own love's might. Oh, let my books be then the eloquence and dumb presagers of my speaking breast, who plead for love and look for recompense more than that tongue that more hath more expressed. Oh, learn to read what silent love hath writ. To hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Green Sleeves, a popular love song from the Elizabethan period with a timeless theme, loving someone and being rejected. Shakespeare refers to it in The Merry Wives of Windsor. It is often and incorrectly stated that King Henry VIII wrote it for Anne Boleyn, one of his not-so-merry wives, at least after he ordered her beheaded. Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously, when I have loved you well and long, delighting in your company. Green Sleeves was all my joy, green sleeves was my delight. Green Sleeves was my heart of gold, and who but my lady, Green Sleeves.
If you would like to donate to Coaster Theatre or KMUN, please visit our websites, coastertheatre.com or KMUN.org. And thank you very much for donating. Roundabout the cauldron go, in the poison entrails throw, toad that under cold stone found, drink it down and pass it round.
In Much Ado About Nothing, Benedict and Beatrice are both of them very much in love with one another. But due to their shared stubborn pride, neither one has yet admitted their feelings to the other. What you're about to see is a scene that takes place directly after Claudio, a soldier and comrade of Benedict, has just left Beatrice's cousin at the altar, having accused her of being unfaithful. Lady Beatrice, have you wept all this while?
Yes, and I will weep a while longer.
I would not desire that.
You have no reason. I do it freely.
Surely I do believe your cousin is wronged.
Ah, how much might the man deserve of me that would right her?
Is there any way to show such friendship?
A very even way, but no such friend.
May a man do it?
It is a man's office, but not yours.
I do love nothing in this world so well as you. Is that not strange?
As strange the thing I know not. It were as possible for me to say I loved nothing so well as you, but believe me not. And yet I lie not. I confess nothing, nor do I deny nothing. I am sorry for my cousin.
By my sword, Beatrice, thou dost love me.
Do not swear by it and eat it.
I will swear by it that you love me, and I will make him eat it that says I love not you.
Will you not eat your word?
With no sauce that can be devised to it. I protest I love thee.
Why then God forgive me.
What offense, sweet Beatrice?
You have stayed me in a happy hour. I was about to protest I loved you.
And do it with all thy heart.
I love you with so much of my heart there is none left to protest.
Come, bid me do anything for thee.
Kill Claudio.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Huzzah!
In Sonnet 27, Shakespeare reveals he truly understands long-distance romance. The body, weary from day's work, and a restless mind, cannot sleep. They long for the presence of one's love like a jewel in the night sky. But this remembering and longing gives no peace.
Weary with toil, I haste to my bed, the dear repose for limbs with travail tired. But then begins a journey in my head to work my mind when body's work's expired. For then my thoughts, from far where I abide, intend a zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keep my drooping eyelids open wide, looking on darkness which the blind do see. Save that my soul's imaginary sight presents thy shadow to my sightless view, which like a jewel hung in ghastly night, makes black night beauteous and her old face new. Lo, thus by day my limbs, by night my mind, for thee and for myself no quiet find. Shakespeare's Sonnet 116 is about the constancy of true love. He posits that love will not change, though people change and grow older, but will remain steadfast as a star which guides the ship of life.
Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor man ever loved.
Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah!
Is Hamlet the most quoted play of all time? Quite possibly, and with good reason. As with so many of his plays, Shakespeare brings the characters to life with memorable dialogue and some fantastic quotes. Here's our selection of the very best Hamlet quotes. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw and resolve itself into a dew.
Listen to many, speak to a few.
Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry.
This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man.
Though I am native here, and to the manor born, it is a custom more honored in the breach than the observance.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
That one may smile and be a villain.
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in our philosophy.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
Though this be madness, yet there is method in it.
There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I.
Doubt thou the stars are fire? Doubt that the sun doth move? Doubt truth to be a liar? But never doubt I love.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
God hath given you one face, and you make yourself another.
To die, to sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in this sleep of death, what dreams may come.
The lady doth protest too much, methinks.
I must be cruel only to be kind. Thus bad begins, and worse remains behind.
There is a willow grows aslant a brook that shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she come, of crowflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples, that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There on the pendant boughs her cornet weeds, clamoring to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide, and mermaid-like a while they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old lauds, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Alas, poor Yorick! I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest.
If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it not be now, yet it will come. The readiness is all.
The rest is silence.
Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Huzzah! 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 In Sonnet 75, Shakespeare portrays love as an emotion of extremes. Either you receive so much attention that it's suffocating, or if you don't have the love you're seeking, it can torment you and feel like you're starving. In the end, love results in sort of an overwhelming dependency that isn't pretty either way. So are you to my thoughts as food to life, or as sweet seasoned showers are to the ground. And for the peace of you I hold such strife, as twixt a miser and his wealth is found. Now proud as an enjoyer, and anon doubting the filching age will steal his treasure. Now counting best to be with you alone, then better that the world may see my pleasure. Sometime all full with feasting on your sight, and by clean starved for a look, possessing or pursuing no delight, save what is had or must from you be took. Thus I do pine and surfeit day by day, or gluttoning on all or all away.
In Sonnet 104, the youth does not seem to have grown older at all in the 3 years that the poet has known him. Still, age comes on imperceptibly. This sonnet deals with the destructive force of time as we grow older. The poet uses his friend as an example. He admires the fact that his friend has kept his youthful appearance over the time that he has known him. To me, fair friend, you never can be old, for as you were when first your eye I eyed, such seems your beauty still. 3 winters cold have from the 4th shook 3 summers' pride. 3 beauteous springs to yellow autumn turned, in process of the seasons have I seen. 3 April perfumes and 3 hot Junes burned, since first I saw you fresh, which yet are green. Ah, yet doth beauty, like a dial hand, steal from his figure and no pace perceived. So sweet hue, which methinks still doth stand, hath motion, and my eye may be deceived. For fear of which, hear this, thou age unbred, ere you were born, was beauty's summer dead.
Shakespeare is famous for his creative language and cutting insults, such as, "Thy lips are scarce wiped since thou drunk last," which I hope is a simple statement of fact for someone in our audience. Or an eternal favorite among adolescent males, "Villain, I have done thy mother." There are even Shakespearean insult generator apps, which can help you come up with fun language such as,
You greasy, rum-fed cut purse.
You be slubbering, flat-mouthed horn beast.
Lewd, empty-hearted clot-pole.
You mewling, dog-hearted boar pig.
Look, a purple onion-eyed moldworm.
A Roynish bunchbacked rabbit sucker.
A distempered, shag-eared hedge pig.
A yeasty rabundianker.
Unmuzzled, pinch-spotted moldwarp. Bawdy, lean-witted mannequin.
You surly, ill-nurtured, leprous witch.
You bean, you acorn.
Oh, you accursed, dread-bolted maltworm.
You ruddish, earth-vexing plebeian.
Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy written by William Shakespeare early in his career about two star-crossed lovers whose deaths ultimately reconcile their feuding families. It was among Shakespeare's most popular plays during his lifetime and is one of his most frequently performed plays. Today, we present a mini Romeo and Juliet featuring the prologue spoken by chorus, the famous balcony scene, famous quotes from Romeo and Juliet, and the epilogue spoken by the prince. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end not could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage. The which, if you with careful ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Ay me.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, no any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other name would smell as sweet. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of me, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus bescreened at night, so stumblest upon my counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of thy tongue's utterance, and yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, dear saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do that dares love attempt, therefore thy kinsmen are no let to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek. For that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon I swear that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circle orb, lest thy love prove other likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or, if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I will believe thee.
Oh, if my heart's dear love...
Oh, well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy in this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden. Good night. Good night.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou did request it. And yet I would, were it to give again.
Would thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank and give it thee again. And yet I wish for the one thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. Wilt thou be gone? It is not yet near day. It was the nightingale and not the lark that pierced the fearful hollow of thine ear. Nightly she sings on yon pomegranate tree. Believe me, love, it was the nightingale.
It was the lark, the herald of the morn, no nightingale. Look, love, what envious streaks do lace the severing clouds in yonder east. Night's candles are burnt out, and jocund day stands tiptoe on the misty mountain tops. I must be gone and live, or stay and die.
Yon light is not daylight, I know it. It is some meteor that the sun exhales to be to thee on this night a torchbearer and light thee on thy way to Mantua. Therefore stay yet, you needest not be gone.
Let me be ta'en, let me be put to death. I'm content, so thou would will it so. I'll say yon gray is not the morning's eye, 'tis but the pale reflex of Cynthia's brow, nor is that not the lark whose notes do beat the vaulty heavens so high above our heads. I have more care to stay than will to go. Come, death, and be welcome. Juliet wills it so. How is't, my soul? Let's talk. It is not day.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir? I do bite my thumb, sir. This bud of love, by summer's ripening breath, may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. Did my heart love till now? Forswear its sight, for I ne'er saw true beauty till this night. Wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast. These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. The sweetest honey is loathsome in his own deliciousness, and in the taste confounds the appetite. A plague of both your houses! Tempt not a desperate man. O true apothecary, thy drugs are quick. Thus, with a kiss, I die. O happy dagger, this is thy sheath. There rust, and let me die. A glooming peace this morning with it brings. The sun, for sorrow, will not show his head. Go hence to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned, and some punished. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
If you would like to donate to Coaster Theatre or KMUN, please go to our websites, coastertheatre.com or kmun.org. And Roundabout the Cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under cold stone found, drink it down and pass it round. And thank you very much for donating.
William Shakespeare is considered the greatest writer in the English language. He used more than 24,000 different words in his writings, more than any other author, and of those, more than 1,700 were first written by him. He actually invented, coined, or cobbled together many of the words and phrases we use today. Here are a few of the many words Shakespeare invented: accommodation, agile, allurement.
Antipathy, catastrophe, critical.
Demonstrate, dexterously, dire.
Dislocate, emphasis, eyeballs.
Emulate, exist, extract.
Frugal, hereditary, horrid.
Impertinent, jovial, meditate.
Modest, mutiny, obscene.
Pedant, pell-mell, premeditated.
Reliance, submerged, and vast.
And here are some of the phrases: star-crossed lovers from Romeo and Juliet.
Sound and Fury from Macbeth.
Salad days, Antony and Cleopatra.
Brave New World, The Tempest.
A foregone conclusion, Othello.
A laughingstock, The Merry Wives of Windsor.
A sorry sight, Macbeth.
All Corners of the World, Cymbeline.
All's well that ends well. All's well that ends well.
The Green-Eyed Monster, Othello.
Of all the plays that Shakespeare wrote during the reign of James I, who was the patron or sponsor of the Shakespeare Acting Company, Macbeth most clearly reflects the playwright's relationship with his sovereign king. It was published in the folio or collection of 1623 and is Shakespeare's shortest tragedy. Imagine you're in a cavern over a boiling cauldron as we speak the witch's words. Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed.
Thrice and once the hedge pig whined.
Harpier cries, 'tis time, 'tis time.
Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw, toad that under cold stone.
Days and nights has 31, sweltered venom sleeping got. Boil thou first i' the charmed pot.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Fillet of a fenny snake in the cauldron boil and bake, eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog.
Adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth, boil and bubble.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf. Of the raven salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark.
Liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of you, slivered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips.
Finger of birth-strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab. Make the gruel thicken slab, add thereto a tigrin's chaudron, for the ingredients of our called
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. And now, possibly one of Shakespeare's most famous quotes, spoken by Lady Macbeth, and the mantra of all who do their own laundry.
Out, out, damn spot!
Huzzah! Huzzah!
In A Midsummer Night's Dream, the closing monologue is spoken by the character known as Puck, or Robin Goodfellow. He opens the monologue with, "If we shadows." Actors were often termed shadows because they were considered copies or shadows of real men and women. Shadows were also the creatures you would encounter in dreams and the magical spirits that so often populated Shakespeare's more fantastical plays. In Puck's soliloquy, he asks for forgiveness from the audience if any of them felt offended or hurt by the play by referring to the fictional events and characters. He also compares the play itself to nothing more than a dream. It was all imaginary and harmless. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear. And this weak and idle theme, no more yielding but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend. And as I am an honest Puck, if we have unearned luck now to scape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long. Else the Puck a liar call, and so good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends.
Huzzah!
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 Alas, my love, you do me wrong
to cast me out discourteously, when I have loved you well and long, delighting in your company. Green sleeves was all my joy, green sleeves was my delight. Green sleeves was my heart of gold, and who but my lady, green sleeves.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Huzzah!